Hey, it's Doc Truman. I'm kind of taking a break from social media. Haven't been on or put out any podcasts lately. So I don't intend a lot of people to watch this, but if they do, just know this. Doc Truman, Matthew Truman, was an Army soldier, signed up at 30 years old and 2008, went to Afghanistan in 2012, January of 2012. Uh, I did get into firefight, sent a fellow on a helicopter. I've seen war. I don't like it so much. Um, but when it's necessary, it's necessary. But this war we're conducting right now, I do not believe it's necessary. And that's kind of what I'm going to break down here. It's been weighing on my heart. I've been trying to stay away from social media and doing podcasts and stuff, but I'm going to put this podcast out, and whoever watches it watches it. Who doesn't. Anyway, this is just one old combat veteran's opinion. It doesn't really mean much anymore, but it is what it is. And I'm a sad American. I really am, because we don't need this war. I believed in Afghanistan. Heck, I believed in Iraq. I was whole hog and all that. That's why I joined up in '08, because I believed our government had the best interest for us, but they don't. I believed in Trump. I believed in his talks about, and I could play the montage of his talks of saying no new wars. We're not going to start any regime change wars. But I guess when Israel gets involved, and no, I don't hate Jews. I love Jews. The guy who followed Jesus Christ was a Jew. I don't hate Jews, but Israel is not the Israel of the Bible. I mean, let's be honest. Anywho, uh, I'm just sad. I'm disappointed. So I'm going to play some clips. I'm going to show some videos, and at the end, I'm going to play a long video because I think it's important and pertinent to what's going on. I'm sure you guys have seen all of the videos coming out of this war with the hypersonic missiles. And before I get into all that, I just want to say this. I'm against this war, but I fully support our men and women in uniform because, doggone it, I was there once. And you volunteer in America. You don't know what's going to happen. We elect people every day. Not every day. We elect people every couple years, every 6 years, every 4 years. It just depends on what the office is. But we elect people a lot in America, and we just don't know what they're going to do. They tell us one thing, and then they kind of do another, right? I don't know what you call. Oh yeah, you call that a liar. What happened to the integrity in America? I don't know. I don't know. I think we've lost it. Some of us have. A lot of us haven't. And I'm going to play a video of somebody who I believe still maintains integrity. But let me bring up the first thing, which is really what bothers me the most and continues to bother me is, as an American man, our job is to provide for our families. Our job is to protect our women and children. And we have a government who's trying to, I don't know how else to put it, but they cover up for pedophiles, which is disgusting and ridiculous. I agree with JD Delay. He's a guy on YouTube and all over the social media. He says, throw them in feet first in the wood chipper. Yeah, all pedophiles deserve that treatment, in my opinion. And I really don't care if I get kicked off tonight, but let me pull up the first video that really disgusts me. Let's see here. Here it is. Awful.
Tonight, new video released by Iranian state media shows the grim work in Manab has already begun. digging tiny graves for some of the littlest victims of this 3-day-old war. Iranian officials say airstrikes hit an elementary school Saturday, killing more than 160 people, mostly children. This man showing the camera what looks like a notebook with children's drawings. This book is stained with the students' blood, he says. We can see school bags on the ground, a classroom destroyed. NBC News spoke with a mother on the phone who said her son Sohail was killed in the attack just 2 days before his 8th birthday. By the time we arrived, she said, the entire school had collapsed on top of the children. The school is called Shajare Taibeh. According to Iran's education ministry, it had 264 students, both girls and boys. It's also right next to a former Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps base. You can see it in this satellite image from 2011 on the same compound. But the mother we spoke with and a local official tell NBC News the base hasn't been active for 15 years. As recently as December 2025, you can see what looks like a schoolyard here full of people. And tonight, Iran's foreign minister pointing the finger directly at America and Israel.
Tom, schools are protected spaces under international humanitarian law. And at this stage, no one has taken.
All right. That was one of the first strikes in this war. We're America. That should not happen. How did we get here? I believe we got here from coercion from a foreign government who has locked in a lot of money, a ton of money, and for whatever influence they have, it seems like it's a lot of influence on our government. Because how does a country of 8-9 million control another country, the most powerful country in the world, as you can see by our military operations, which are spot on, beautiful military operations. We can do that sort of thing. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. Do I respect that military power? I do. But do I want that military power to be aimed toward children? Absolutely not. We saw what happened in the Israel-Gaza war. How many children died there? They don't respect life. We get preached all the time about how Muslims don't respect, the radical Muslims don't respect human life. What's that? Just a question. Guys, I voted for Trump in every primary. I voted for Trump in every election. This is coming from a hardcore Republican conservative dude. I don't know if I'm going to vote again. This is where, what's going on? I don't know. Let me bring up another video before I bloviate too much, because I tend to do that. This is Trump's reason today of why we're at war. Let's watch.
We're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15. And we're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far. And that was a tremendous threat to us for many years. 47 years they've been killing our people and killing people from all over the world. And I think we have great support. And I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible. Their leadership is just rapidly going. Everybody that seems to want to be a leader, they end up dead. And it's an amazing thing that's taking place before your eyes. Their missiles are being wiped out rapidly. Their launchers are being wiped out. They're attacking their neighbors. They're attacking their, in some cases, allies, or not so long ago allies. And, it's really a nation that was out of control, and they would have used it on us if we let them. If we wait in any longer. We're doing.
All right. So what do you think about that? Yes, we do have the greatest military in the world. There's a lot of squared away dudes in the United States. There's a lot of smart folks in the United States. But did they pose opposition to America? Perhaps. Did they pose a threat? No. They can't touch America. This war isn't about the United States or the American people. This war is for Israel. And I tend to think not all Israelis are for this war. I don't know. Somebody that I admire, Thomas Massey, spoke today on the House floor. And I'm going to play that video because he's getting it right. Trump's against him. AIPAC's throwing all their money at him to get him to lose. But he's right, folks. That's my opinion. Let's listen. It's about 5 minutes and 20 seconds long, so I hope you stick around.
The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Yeah, I'm happy to yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Kentucky and the sponsor of this important resolution, the Honorable Representative Thomas Massey.
Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
I thank the gentleman from New York. Mr. Speaker, James Madison wrote to Thomas Jefferson in 1789, the Constitution supposes what the history of all governments demonstrates, that the executive branch of power is the most interested in war and most prone to it. It has accordingly, with studied care, vested the question of war in the legislature. The Constitution is clear. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of our Constitution provides Congress initiatory powers of war. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of our Constitution gives the president operational powers of war to wage that war. Even if this body were to pretend that the 1973 War Powers Resolution supersedes the clear language of the Constitution, the president still has not met the conditions required by that law itself. The 1973 War Powers Resolution states plainly that the president may only introduce U.S. armed forces into hostilities pursuant to 3 conditions. Either 1, declaration of war, 2, specific statutory authorization, or 3, a national emergency created by an attack upon the United States. None of those conditions exist today. Iran has not attacked the United States, Congress has not declared war, and Congress has not granted specific statutory authorization. Beyond the constitutional question, here lies an even more important one. Why are we going to war with Iran? We owe our military service members a clear mission. And American families in my district want to know how this is going to help them pay for groceries. How does this make them any safer in their schools or in their neighborhoods? How does this help them pay for housing? Have we learned nothing from the laundry list of wars and regime change experiments we sparked across the Middle East that have racked up a total of at least $8 trillion of debt in Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan? A sustained war with Iran will not stabilize the region. It's already ignited the region. It will radicalize new generations of terrorists, and it will send more swarms of refugees into Europe and the United States. Iran is not Venezuela. The Ayatollah was not a president. He was a religious leader from a region notorious for radical Islamists. And the United States and Israel turned him into a martyr. And in the process of doing so, we've already expended billions of dollars, and more solemnly, 6 American families must now lay to rest their sons and daughters. And for what? This administration can't even give us a straight answer as to why we launched this preemptive war. The president says we had to strike first because an Iranian strike was imminent. Meanwhile, the Department of Defense conceded there was no evidence of an imminent Iranian strike. Some told us this war was about nuclear weapons, but 6 months ago, we were assured our last strike on Iran decimated their nuclear program. So which is it? I think the most candid answer came from the Secretary of State. who told the press that Israel forced our hand and dragged us into this war again. And that truth is the very reason why it is Congress that must decide war. If American lives are to be risked and American blood is to be shed, that decision must be debated and voted on by the representatives of the American people. And that debate is meant to be arduous. And that vote is meant to be hard. I have a theory. I think my colleagues don't want to go on record because we have a terrible track record of meddling in the Middle East. They don't want their name associated with this when it doesn't turn out well. But Congress cannot be bothered with its constitutional duty because for many in this chamber, it's easier to simply allow someone else's sons and daughters to be sent to combat without their vote. And to be clear, we aren't even here to declare war today. All we're voting on is a war powers resolution to reassert the Constitution, that Congress must decide questions of war. And if Congress wants war, then the Speaker should hold a vote to declare it. Some say Congress authorizes war when we pay for it, when we pass the budget bill. Here's the problem. We haven't taken on the hard work of defining the mission for our sons and daughters who are going to fight. That's not in the budget bill. It never is. And to the men and women who are engaged in combat, I sincerely thank you, and I pray for your safety. It is for you that I wrote this resolution. It is for you that all of us are here on this floor working so hard to force this vote so that you will have a clear mission that you deserve, so that you will know when you achieve it, you can come home. And with that, I urge support for this resolution, and I yield back.
All right, there he was. Representative Thomas Massie. I think the only one speaking truth to power, to real power. What is the reason for this war? They say it's because Iran's a terrorist state. Iran, and I'm no defender of Iran or the mullahs or that government, but they say they were going to attack us. How are they going to attack Americans? They barely have the capability of attacking the Gulf states. And when they attack the Gulf states, they're attacking American bases or places where American soldiers were retreated to. Pray for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force. Pray for them all because doggone it, we got put into something. Let me try this little experiment. Let's see here. We were told that Iran was going to attack us. Let's see who they were going or who they've attacked in the past. So I pulled this up. Chat GPT AI, everybody loves it. Let's put in who has Iran attacked first ever. Let's just put that in and see what Chat GPT has to say. Okay, so it says it depends on what time frame. Let's say 1947. From 1947, the year Israel came to be, 1947, or no. Let's do the current regime. Iran revolution was in 79, I believe. Let me make sure though. Iran revolution 79. Okay, I was right. From 1979 to current, who has Iran attacked first? Let's see what that gives us. Okay, they're giving us Ottoman empires, modern era, Iraq war. Let's see. Iran-Iraq war. War began in 1980 when Saddam Hussein's Iraq invaders invaded Iran first. And then it jumps to 2024. But so prior to that, you had the Ottoman-Persian War, right? All that history. I'd get into it if you want. But during this entire regime that's in Iran prior to us starting this war in the 12-day war and calling them the axis of evil, which they probably were. I mean, if they had more power, would they use it? Probably. Yeah. But who was the best deterrent for that? We were. But here we are. So I just wanted to point that out, that Iran's never really attacked anybody first. But Matt, they built IEDs and they supplied terrorism, and perhaps I don't know. I really don't know. What's the proof of that? And I'm not sticking up for Iran. I'm just saying, what's the proof? Where's the proof? It's said a lot, and we hear it a lot. And if you say things enough, people tend to believe them. That's psychology. So I'm going to end this podcast with this. I'm going to say this. I'm against this war. I think it's catastrophic. And I pray for not only our men and women in harm's way who volunteered to protect us from outside influence, but somehow that outside influence got into our government. And it's not just Republican or Democrat. It continues to get inside. They're going to try to pit us against each other. They're going to do Democrat, Republican stuff. They're going to use this. The Democrats are going to use it. The Republicans are going to use it. They're going to use it to try to earn votes. That's up to you. I was definitely, before the war, I was definitely voting in the primary, in the Ohio primary, but I may not vote at all. Because when I vote, it doesn't generally turn out real good, because we continue to get these politicians that do not have the best interest in mind for you and me. Things are still expensive, no matter all the beautiful things that they tell us they're doing for us. What's changed since Biden, since Obama, since Trump the first time, since Clinton, since Bush? I mean, I think when they offed JFK, that was it. They knew they had us. Who's they? I don't know. Somebody knows who they is, though. All right. I'm going to end with this. It's a long, you can turn it off now, but it's a long video. But it's kind of important. There's only been 2 countries that have attacked the Americans first. Number 1 was Japan, and we all know what happened to Japan. Number 2 was Israel, attacking the USS Liberty. So I'm going to play a USS Liberty veteran. I love my veterans in America. I don't love politicians. I don't hate them, because I try not to hate anyone. But I do my best not to hate anyone. I tell myself that anyway. Don't hate no one. But I do pray for the veterans, and I pray for all the children that are in harm's way. My goodness. Oh, well. All right. I'm going to play this video, and that'll be it. But I want you to watch it. The only other person who attacked us was Israel, USS Liberty. Here it is. Interview with the veteran.
Well, the United States has a long
Phil Turney.
history of false flag attacks to rally our country into war. It's a template that works well. Take, for example, the USS Maine, which was used to ignite the Spanish-American War, or the Gulf of Tonkin, a false flag attack there that led us fully into the Vietnam War. But one of the most suppressed and hidden attacks on Americans happened during the Six-Day War in 1967. The USS Liberty, a naval intelligence ship, was attacked on purpose by Israeli forces in coordination with the CIA at the highest levels of the United States government. And the goal was to kill every American on board that ship that day. I know it's hard to swallow, but it's the truth. The goal, of course, was to rally American support for a war against Egypt. By bombing the USS Liberty, they could pretend, of course, that Egypt had carried out that attack, and Americans would rally once again, just like the USS Maine or the Gulf of Tonkin. It was an evil and brilliant strategy. There was just one big problem with this attack. Israel didn't kill every American that day. They failed in their attack. Americans, of course, don't give up. One of those Americans that survived on board the ship that day is Phil Turney. He's written a book about his experience. He was a naval petty officer on that day, on that fateful day. The book is called What I Saw That Day.
This game, you're not ready for it.
You're in the middle of this beautiful sci-fi environment, and you're seeing intrigue, the espionage, the alliances form, the power that shifts around, and it's amazing to watch.
Simple actions can have massive effects.
You can cooperate with people, compete with them, make friendships, deceive them, betray them.
It's amazing to think that it's all just other players.
More players start coming. It just starts this complete cascade of actions, and you don't know what's going to happen.
It is a free-for-all. We'll get locked up and shot instantly. People start dying left, right, and center. It's just something that you can't get anywhere else. It's just the rush like no other.
Everybody's on this journey and writing their own stories, and that is probably the simplest way I can describe Eve.
Things continue to change and evolve. It's awesome. I love it. Part of Eve.
Are you trying to feed your dog better but stuck between overpriced fresh food and low quality kibble? Hi, I'm Dr. Stephanie Liff, Spot and Tango's vet advisor and a licensed veterinarian in New York City. I'm constantly asked by pet owners the best quality foods to feed. I believe that Spot and Tango is one of those great options, and I even feed it to my own dog. Unlike traditional kibble, which is cooked at high temperatures, which can be destructive to the nutrients, Spot and Tango is cooked at a low temperature to maintain 99% of the nutrients. Spot and Tango Unkibble maintains the same benefits as fresh or raw food. Healthier digestion, shinier hair coat, and improved appetite. But here's the difference. It's shelf stable. No freezer, no cooking, and no mess. It's typically 40% more affordable than fresh frozen dog food, which makes it the most accessible human-grade dog food on the market today. I've personally seen Unkibble help picky eaters, pets with allergies, and my senior pets have more energy when they're eating the diet. If you're ready to upgrade your dog's food, use the code LIFT50 for 50% off your first order.
And Phil joins us today here in the studio. Phil, great to see you. It's an
Great
honor.
to see you. Thank you, Clayton, for having me on. I certainly appreciate it.
My pleasure. I should say you and I probably started talking about a year ago. I covered on the show just sort of a history of false flag attacks. We on Redacted, and just kind of painting a picture of it. And I talked about the USS Liberty. I even think I held up my USS Liberty,
Yeah, you did.
my USS Liberty hat at the time. And you reached out to me. This is like a year ago, and we started talking. And you started really filling me in on a lot of the details of that day. And I'm thrilled that we can finally have you here in the studio. So thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So before we get into all of the details of that day, there are veterans who are trying to get answers, trying to get justice for what happened on that day. And it seems like in the United States, this story has been suppressed, hidden. Even by presidents of the United States aren't willing to stare this story in the face. Members of Congress are cowardly and will not stare this story in the face. Do you think the president of the United States and Congress is doing enough to bring this story to justice?
No, I don't, Clayton. They haven't helped us from LBJ, and that's every Congress, all the way up to Biden. They haven't helped us. They haven't lifted a finger. You write Congress or whatever, and be prepared to be lied to. They tell the survivors that what we saw, we really didn't see, and it was a mistaken identity when we know different. In fact, Lauren Boebert, from the state of Colorado. She was on the Western Slope. I think she won an election over here now. But her aide told me she would never, ever, ever investigate the USS Liberty. Just quit calling. I wrote her 3 or 4 times.
Stop calling my office. We're not going to investigate one of the greatest false flag tragedies on American service members. We're not going to investigate it.
No, absolutely not. And it's the same thing you get from every congressman or senator. Is I'm glad you wrote, they never go into the issue. I'm glad you wrote, I'll take your messages or your voice into consideration. But and then they write back and they said, that's it. I mean, there's nothing to investigate. They say they've been investigated over and over and over. There never has been an investigation. They're all lying. They're covering up for cold-blooded murder.
Cold-blooded murder. And of course, you've been attacked. You were there that day. You've been attacked online, I think probably by online trolls. Were those online trolls who are attacking you, were they there that day with you on the ship?
No, I don't think they were. I don't think the trolls were there. And I do get a lot of that. But I'm fortunate enough to have other people engage them where I don't have to.
Yeah. There's no worth like really swinging at pitches in the dirt, right? You were there that day. Your family has given to this country. Your son, Navy SEAL.
Yes.
Your other son fought in Afghanistan and Iraq. So those trolls can go pound sand.
Yes,
as far
absolutely.
as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they can go pound sand.
So let's talk about what happened that day. For most Americans, we maybe know the USS Maine story now, the false flag that got us into the Spanish-American War. More Americans now, with the release of the documents, understand the lies that were told to get us into Vietnam. People are investigating what's happened in other false flags. But for some reason, what happened in 1967 on board the USS Liberty has been suppressed and hidden because it would embarrass a whole lot of people, and it would bring enormous shame to both Israel and the United States. So can you take us through what happened on that day when you were on board the USS Liberty?
Yes, we got on station. Well, actually, we left Africa. We just got to Abidjan.
In Africa.
In Africa. And we were there about 6 or 7 hours. And the captain says, get everybody back on board. We got emergency orders. And so we took off just as fast as we could go to the Mediterranean, stopped in Rota, Spain, and picked up 3 Marine linguists and 1 civilian, Alan Blue. 2 of the Marines were killed, and Alan Blue was also killed.
Can we go back to your captain saying we have an emergency? Because I think this is an important part of the story, to my understanding of it, and you can educate all of us on this, that your captain at the time, to give this emergency order was unprecedented, right? You guys had not traveled at that speed, to my understanding, right? This was an uncharacteristic, we need to get out of here and we need to get to the Mediterranean as fast as humanly possible.
Absolutely. In fact, George Golden, my division officer, Lieutenant Golden, he took the governors off the main engine, and that old World War II ship is an old World War II Victory hull ship. They called them one-wayers. And it was converted into a spy ship, but the ship was just shaking. We were going as fast as we could to get into the Mediterranean.
And did your captain know what the emergency was?
I don't think he did. I don't think any of us did until we got a little bit closer. And we were the most sophisticated spy ship in the world, and we couldn't figure out what was going on until a few days later.
So until after the attack happened.
No, well, we knew we were going into a war zone during the 6-day war.
But you didn't know why you were there. And it was an odd place. So you arrive in the Mediterranean Sea, but to my understanding it from your story, it seemed like you were where you were positioned. The captain didn't want to be in that position. It was almost as if you were there as a sitting duck. Am I right or wrong about that?
No, you're absolutely right. The captain requested a destroyer escort because we were all alone. We was a auxiliary ship. We didn't have any way to defend ourselves. We had 450 caliber machine guns, and that's it. That's for repel boarders if you're in port or whatever. Somebody tries to get on the ship. But we were absolutely alone, denied twice, not once, but twice by our own government. You're fine. You got the American flag flying. Don't worry about it. And we didn't. We thought everything was fine. We get on station on the 7th, and the Israeli aircraft began reconnaissance planes sending over, taking pictures of our ship.
Israeli aircraft started flying over that morning and taking pictures, or in the day before the attack?
Yes, on the 7th, and it resumed again on the 8th.
So these aircraft were flying back and forth, taking reconnaissance photos of the USS Liberty. So they knew that this was an American ship. In fact, you were flying colors, right? An American flag.
This is the skylight calendar. This is our family calendar. This is our to-do list. This is our grocery list. This is our...
They knew it was an American ship. Did you confirm that they knew this was an American ship?
Yes, they confirmed that they knew we were American and friendly. We were plotted on their war table as American. They identified us American. The airplanes would come so low to us, we could see the pilots, and we'd wave at them, and they'd wave at us. And they dipped their wings like everything was just fine. But we didn't know that Israel was going to attack us. We figured if anybody was going to get us, it would be the Arabs.
So you thought it would be the Egyptian Air Force. How sophisticated was the Egyptian Air Force at that time?
Well, at that time, they weren't very sophisticated because Israel took them out. They wiped them out. There was no Air Force.
So
we didn't know that.
So this is an important part of the story, right? That Egypt's Air Force is essentially destroyed.
Yes.
And according to the numbers that I've seen, over 80% of their Air Force was wiped out by Israel ahead of your arrival, or in the days right around that time. So there was no sophisticated Air Force to be running reconnaissance missions out over you. Did you see any Egyptian aircraft at all that morning?
No.
Not one.
Never saw any kind of Egyptian planes or boats or anything. It was the only people we saw was Israel, and we were happy they were there because they were our friends, we thought.
There's been, before your arrival, my understanding is that there were multiple attempts to try to get, or I should say instigate, Egypt to attack American ships in that region. And it didn't happen, did it?
No, it did not. Every ship, Clayton, we were going into the Med, they were all going the other way, and we were the only ones going that way.
Wow.
And we were all alone.
Okay, so take me back to the reconnaissance flights. You're seeing Israeli pilots, they're waving to you, you're waving to them. I also understand that they went back and reported back to their superior officers, and they had a board where they would pinpoint on the board the location of ships. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what did they put on that board?
Well, it was a war table, and of course, they had they knew exactly what everything was around it, or around us, or whatever. They said they changed the watch.
What does that mean?
Well, say like every 4 to 8 hours, they have a new watch come in.
Okay.
And the old watch commander forgot to tell the new watch commander that we were American and friendly and there. So they took us off their war table. So
he just forgot to tell the new watch commander there's Americans here.
Yeah, very conveniently.
Whoops.
Yeah. It was all pre-planned. I believe, and I think many of my shipmates believe, we were set up. This is going to happen about a year before they were planning this false flag attack.
I think the documents bear that out.
Yes.
It was at least a year in planning. coordination between Israel and the CIA to carry this out. And how did that plan come together? What was the goal?
The goal of our government, well, our government set us up to be murdered by the Zionist state of Israel. Our government hired, well, just like they hired a hitman, and the hitmen were Israel. And our government gave them the green light to sink our ship and blame it on the Arabs. That's exactly what they wanted us there for, is to sink us.
So it's important for people to understand that this is not just Israel. It was a coordination at the deepest levels of the deep state of the United States with the CIA.
Absolutely. CIA, NSA, all of them. And especially the President of the United States and McNamara, his defense secretary. It was a very close-knit group of people that had this planned.
So take me back to that morning. So you're seeing these reconnaissance flights. You're waving to them. They're waving to you. Describe the ship and the atmosphere that day among your other officers and among your other sailors that day. And describe for us the ship. Like if you're flying over, what do you see as a pilot? Are you going to see American flags flying?
Right. You're going to see the American flag on the mast very clearly. It was a brand new flag we put up. 5x8 flag. It was a beautiful brand new flag. The ship was full of antennas. There's no mistaking it. In fact, Admiral Thomas Moore, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said that was the easiest ship in the Navy to identify. He said it looked like a giant lobster. So there was no misidentification. They knew we were a spy ship, and they knew we were American. But it really didn't make any difference what we were. They just wanted us on the bottom.
They wanted you sunk.
They wanted us dead, all of us.
And that didn't go according to plan.
No, it did not. Well, the air attack lasted about 25 minutes with Mystere jets and Mirage jets. They strafed us.
Caesar Milan, how to add years to your dog's life. Sardines.
9.
Bone broth.
10.
Every watertight door above the waterline was taken out. Every tuning antenna on that ship was gone. There were a lot of them.
Now, there were Israeli pilots that day who refused to attack the American ship, as far as I understand it as well. They turned around. I believe they were, one of them, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to correct my history on this, was court-martialed for failing to attack you. He knew you were American, and he didn't want to be a part of it.
He did not, but the others did. They said, but it's an American ship. And they said, whoever was in charge, Moshe Dayan or whatever, said, you've got your orders, hit the ship. And hit it, they did.
So describe those first few minutes, that first attack. Where were you on the ship when these missiles started flying?
Well, I was on the main deck. We just got through the general quarters drill. The sound power phones were working on the forward gun mount. So I went and got David Skolak, who's an I seaman, to come up there to fix it. And bombs were going off on the Sinai. You could see it, black smoke. And we thought, man, this is not a good place to be. And
so Israel was attacking targets against Egypt in the Sinai Peninsula.
Yes.
So you were seeing that off in the distance there.
Yes, absolutely. We were 12.5 miles off the coast of the Sinai. We were always in international waters at all times. We never veered from that. And we were doing exactly what we were supposed to do. Getting signals out of the sky or whatever we could do. That was our job. Everybody does it. The Russians does it. Everybody does it. So they didn't care what we were picking up. Their only mission was to sink that ship and sink it fast.
So you had just finished general quarters. You're on the main deck. Were these the same pilots that were flying earlier, waving to you, that came back to strafe you?
No, the planes that went over taking pictures was like a flying boxcar, smaller planes, propeller planes, DC-3. But the attacking aircraft were all jet aircraft, and they were blackened out. We didn't know who was attacking us. They were all black. We had no idea.
So you thought maybe these could be Egyptian planes?
Yes, that was what we thought, when the attack first started, because it wouldn't be our friends Israel doing it. It had to be a government that didn't like us.
But you didn't know at the time that Egypt's air force was basically wiped out.
No.
So then the attack happens. Describe those first few minutes. You said it lasted about over 20 minutes. What was the initial thought that, oh my gosh, they're friendly, we got to stop this? Or what did you think initially? Or not friendly, these are Egyptians hitting us. What was that first moment like?
Well, after the air attack, they dropped napalm on our ship too. There was over 821 rocket and cannon holes in it.
Wow.
Over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets in it. And then the planes left. We thought, well, it's over, thank God. But it wasn't over. The Israelis were sending their torpedo boats. They had 3 of them. That's when we saw the Star of David, and we thought, oh, man, this is great. They're coming in to help us. Because certainly we didn't think that Israel would be doing it. And they came there to sink us. And then we got the message out that, there were Israeli torpedo boats.
When you saw the Star of David, and I think there were people in the water at that point, weren't there? People who jumped overboard?
No.
Not yet?
No.
Okay.
That's nobody did jump over. That's been disputed.
Okay.
Everybody stayed aboard the ship. The torpedo boats, and there were 3 of them, were on our starboard side, probably 1,000 yards off, and they fired 5 torpedoes at us. 2 went aft. I saw 2 go aft, and I know where 1 hit, but the other 2, I don't know where they went. But by the grace of God, He kept us afloat. His all glory goes to God.
Yeah, it's remarkable that this ship stayed afloat. It was never able to be really seaworthy again in the military. It was sold off as scrap eventually, but it did stay afloat. I understand there was an effort to maybe get out a larger American flag at one point.
Right. They shot 2 of our flags down, 2 5x8s. The only flag we had left was a holiday colors, which is 7 feet by 13 feet.
So a massive American flag. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, they shot 2 of them down. Maybe they really don't know that we're Americans. Let's get the larger flag out and place that on the main deck, right?
Yes, it was on the mast.
On the mast.
On the
Okay.
mast. It was on the mast. I mean, there was 12 knots or more going across the deck.
Of wind.
The flag was, anybody could see it. They could see the 5x8s too.
Yeah.
And interestingly, one of the officers in the war room of the Israelis said that he notified the torpedo boats that we were American. Well, they could see that, but he says that message never got to the torpedo boats to stop the attack. They never sent a message to them to stop the attack. There was no way. They sent us there to sink us, and that was their main plan. They softened us up with the jets. Then they bring in the torpedo boats, fire 5 torpedoes at us. 1 hits the starboard side, where 25 brave souls died, spies, CIA, NSA people.
So they CIA killed their own people, essentially.
Yeah, and national security people too. I mean, when you're national security, you're working for all the 3-letter agencies,
Right.
FBI, CIA, all of them. So, yeah, it instantly blew 25 souls to bits. They were, blown up.
25 Americans just obliterated. Almost 200 injured that day. Over 34 killed in total?
34 killed, 174 wounded out of a ship of 294. 2/3 of the crew was either dead or wounded.
What happened to you?
I got shrapnel in my arm and a little bit in my leg, but I was walking wounded. I was very fortunate, very lucky.
Can you describe some of those moments when you were helping your other service members, trying to get them to safety? Was it just sort of mad panic, or what was your captain doing at the time?
He was on the bridge, staying there, trying to get the ship maneuvered the best he could to get us out of harm's way. He got the Medal of Honor, by the way, Captain William McGonigal. And on the main deck, I was on the main deck. I was in damage control. I was assistant on-scene leader there. And we were trying to get people off the deck, and they were shooting at us, and we were trying to get people off the deck. Stretcher bearers, firefighters. They were shooting at us, trying to kill us all. The torpedo gunmen they were probably at that moment 50 yards off of us. They'd circle the ship and circle the ship, firing at anything that moved.
So I just want to be clear about this. You have a 7x13 flag flying at that time. The other two flags have been shot down, shot off. This torpedo gunner, halfway through this, or maybe close to the 20-minute mark, is circling the ship, sees the American flag, and continues to pick off Americans one by one as they're walking across the deck, trying to help other members of the U.S. Navy, and they're just picking them off one by one.
One by one. That's exactly what they did. And they wouldn't quit. They wouldn't quit. That went on for another hour and a half.
Another hour and a half?
Yes. The initial was 25, 30 minutes. The torpedo boats was another hour and a half. The USS America and USS Saratoga picked up the message. We were under attack.
How far away were they?
About 40 minutes. The Captain Tully of the USS Saratoga sent aircraft immediately to our aid. McNamara got on the phone. He says, "Send those planes back. Do not help Liberty."
U.S. Secretary of Defense under LBJ said, "Turn back. Don't help them."
Yes, absolutely. Do not help Liberty. And probably a few minutes after. This is during the air attack now. This is during the air attack. And then Tully and Captain Ingen of the America, they relaunched to come help us. And then Johnson got on the phone.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, the president.
He says, you get those GD planes back on where they belong on board your ship, and do not help Liberty. Do not help Liberty. I will not embarrass my ally, Israel. How did he know it was attacking us if we didn't?
Because this all went all the way to the president.
Yes. Yes. Lyndon Baines Johnson set us up to be murdered by the Zionist state of Israel. And they almost got by with it.
So for another hour, these torpedo boats are picking you off. Where are you at this time trying to, were you trying to get the attention of the, did you think at that moment still that maybe this was a mistake? Or
no.
Were you trying to get their attention to stop shooting at all? Or were you taking cover, trying to stay away from these torpedoes?
Right. Everybody was, doing their job, what they could to get people off deck, fight fires. In fact, they shut all our water hoses up too. We didn't have any firefighting equipment except CO2.
Let's talk about the communications equipment and the jamming that went on that day. So you think, well, it should be easy for you to radio for help, radio these aircraft. We're an ally after all. We should be able to tell them, you guys are making a huge mistake here, turn back within the first 2 seconds of this happening, right? But you couldn't speak to them, and that was on purpose, right?
Right. Well, the airplanes were jamming our signal. We only had one antenna up. The rest of them were shot up. Terry Haldabardi hooked it up. He took it offline before the attack because the tuner wasn't working. He ran a long wire to it, and that's when they got the message out. But no,
I want to tell you a story.
I used to believe that Jesus was...
The airplanes, when they got done with us, and then the torpedo boats come, and then they said that, as I said before, that they didn't get the message. And he smiled. It's on tape. It's on Loss of Liberty. He smiled and he says, "That's the only one they didn't get." Yeah, I wonder why they never did send it. They sent it there to sink us and sink us fast.
Talk about some of the documents and proof of these communications that's come out over the years, because since that day, there's been all sorts of confirmation of exactly what you're saying, both from the Israeli government and from the United States government. They don't want to talk about it.
No,
but the proof is there.
The proof is there. In fact, Admiral Moore, he did the Moore report with Ray Davis, General Ray Davis. He was a Medal of Honor recipient, and many other dignitaries. And it was a very, very thorough investigation. And he has, well, he's passed now, but, and he was a good friend of mine. But he says, I'll never, ever, ever believe that the Israelis didn't know who that ship was. And he urged Congress over and over again to investigate it. But they never would. They didn't then, and they didn't now.
But in the wake of all of this, the government investigations to try to get to the bottom of this, there was stonewalling, there was prevention happening, suppression happening.
Admiral Isaac Kidd and his underling, JAG officer, Captain Ward Boston, come aboard the ship. Well, before that, the America and the Davis come alongside. They took all the wounded off, which was many, many, many people. And Ward Boston, later in life, he has a declaration, and we've got it on our website, usslibertyveterans.org, usslibertyveterans.org. I might say, by the way, too, a little off topic, but if anybody wants to donate or buy hats or shirts or challenge coins or anything like that, please do it. That's the only way we can keep on going. We've been doing this for a long time.
USS libertyveterans.org. We'll put that up on the screen here. And because you still have members of Congress and President Biden and others who are refusing to acknowledge the story and to help you guys.
Absolutely. They all do. I mean, President Trump, you know, when he was elected in 2016, you know, I sent letters there. I don't know if he ever got them or somebody threw them in the trash can. Who knows? But, you know, I call out President Trump to investigate this. You said transparency, and in your office, when you get elected, you're going to be transparent. Be transparent about the USS Liberty. Let's get this over with.
What do you want to have happen?
I want a full congressional investigation by the United States Congress. And I want them to let the world know, and the American people, they deserve to know the truth instead of the lies they've been hearing for the last 50, 70 years. You know what they do to the crew? They call us Nazis and Jew haters, anti-Semites for telling the truth.
Are you an anti-Semite?
No, I'm not an anti-Semite. In fact, we were all pulling for the Israelis,
right,
to win. And no, we got stabbed in the back by two people, our government and the Zionist state of Israel.
So a full investigation by Congress.
Right.
Do you think that they would be open and transparent, given that so many of the members of Congress, I think there's only a handful that don't take money from the Israel lobby.
Right.
You know,
Tom Massey.
Tom Massey is one of them. I think Matt Gaetz was another. He's no longer in the Congress. I'm not sure the other ones who don't take money from there. There's just a few off the top of my head that don't.
They all, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. They all take money. Listen, Israel's a foreign government. You know, AIPAC, okay, they got American Israeli Political Action Committee. It's really not American at all. It's Israel telling those guys what to do. AIPAC tells them to squat, and they squat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's deeply disturbing. I mean, I mean, when I think about this question, are you an American first? You know, and that should be, I think our members of Congress should be American first. You can love Israel all you want, but you need to put America first if you serve in the United States House of Representatives and the United States Senate and the White House.
Right. Absolutely, you should. And you should put American fighting men way ahead of a foreign government to try to murder us all.
What do the other veterans say about this? You've been out in front on this. Are they all in alignment of what they saw that day? Has there been any disagreement about this from your veterans on the USS Liberty?
No, we're 100% solid together on this. And just like I said, we want an investigation. And, thank you for having me on again. I mean, shows like this, not the mainstream media, not Fox, not Newsmax, not anybody.
They won't do it.
No, they won't do it. Absolutely, they won't do it. And I've contacted them, and I never heard anything back.
What are they scared of?
I think they're, I think they're bought and paid for, just like our Congress. You turn on the TV, all you hear is poor Israel, poor Israel, poor Israel. But nothing about what's going on. And I'm not a really, I'm not a great expert on a whole lot of things, but I know I'm an expert in this. And I know when I look at what's going on in Gaza, the pain, the hurt, the destruction, the starvation, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I mean, I've felt the backhand of Israel. I know what they can do. And what those people are going through is just horrific.
What have you heard from the Israeli government in the wake of all of this? Have they been conciliatory towards you? Have they tried to help you in any way? Have they admitted to what they did?
Yeah, they admitted to it. They said it was mistaken identity. There was no mistaken identity. I mean, come on. A 3-year-old could figure that one out.
Right. You'd have to be stupid.
Yeah,
you'd believe it's
stupid or blind or covering up.
Right.
And maybe they're doing it all.
Well, and now we have the proof of it. We have the documents, and we have the communications from the president and the CIA. So that's been that ship has sailed, so to speak. Well, I think in the years after this, when you get together with the other members of the USS Liberty and you talk to them, what do they say to you?
Well, it's always good to be with them, and we talk about a lot of different things. But just being around the brave men on that day, and all of them were very, very brave men, it just gives you a great sense of feeling being with them. It just it's overwhelming because you talk to men, they were there. They know exactly what happened, and I mean there's guys that haven't spoke in over 50. Well, we had a couple of guys come on board that have never talked about it for over 55 years. And they're afraid to, and I don't blame them. We were ordered by Admiral Isaac Kidd. If we ever spoke about it, we'd end up with fines, imprisonment, or death.
Fines, imprisonment, or death if you spoke about this?
Yes.
Why?
Because they took away our First Amendment rights. They said we could never speak about it again, ever.
But you did.
For about 18 years after that, I started speaking.
Did you get any retribution from the government? Did they come after you?
No, but they might now because with all the different interviews and things that I've been doing. But, let them come. I mean, the truth is the truth. Prove us wrong. If this is so cut and dry, Clayton,
right?
Why don't they just go ahead and say, well, sure, come on, and we'll have an investigation. Call the survivors up, and the documents, just like you were talking about. We have tons of them.
Right. And you have the radio transmissions.
Yes.
So we have the audio recordings. We have the receipts, so to speak.
We got the receipts.
Right.
But they don't care about the receipts. They want to keep the receipts buried, just like they're doing with JFK. They're burying that like as deep as they can. This is an embarrassment to America. What your own government will do to you, and get by with it, and then tell us that we're stupid. We don't know what we're talking about.
Are you a proud American?
I am a proud American, and I love this country. I don't love what they did to us, and I want an investigation. I want a call out, as I said, President Trump. You got to help us. I mean, you said you want transparency. Why won't you treat us with the same respect that every other combat wounded veteran gets? I gave my blood for this country. I was wounded in combat, and so many others were too. Why will you not help combat wounded veterans. Are you covering up for Israel too? Is it just because Israel did it? We're nothing. We're nothing. We're just garbage. We're pieces of shit to people.
Incoming Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, of course, a huge champion of veterans. That's been his calling for many, many years. Are you confident that the incoming Secretary of Defense, if he is confirmed, will take up the USS Liberty story? If he says he's really, he loves veterans. He is a veteran, of course. Do you think that he will do that?
I would hope Pete would do it. I would pray he would do it. It's his duty to do it.
It'd be very brave of him to do it.
Yes, be very brave. But when you take an oath to the Constitution of the United States to defend this country from foreign or domestic, and we got foreign that tried to kill us, and we got domestic that set us up to be killed. No wonder they want to hide it and cover it up. But the lid's coming off. I mean, you guys better start fessing up.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't put this genie back in the bottle now.
No,
they can
out.
try. Internet trolls can try, and they can do whatever they want. But sorry, the story is out now.
Right.
I think about being a proud American. We criticize America on this show all the time, but because we want the greatest for this country, I think believe in we believe in the promise of America. That's why we're so critical of her, because we know we can do better. We know we can live up to the ideals of the founding fathers. And when you have human beings who've tried to destroy this country, try to cover up these crimes, it brings this nation down. And I think we love the ideal of America. And I have to ask, because I think about that when I sit here with you.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever you want.
Your love of this country, it's exemplified in the fact that your sons are fighting for this country as we speak. One of your sons is a Navy SEAL.
Yes, he's got 3 more years left, and he's a chief petty officer now. He's getting out, but he was in SEAL Team 6, silver team, for about 12 years, and then he got transferred to Hawaii for his Twilight cruise. But he fought for his country. He's very highly decorated. My other son, Bryce, he was in Afghanistan and got hit with a rocket in a vehicle he was in and shook his eyeballs loose. And he, as I told you earlier, if he's able to keep his eyesight till he's 50, he'll be real lucky.
Because his retina was shaken and shattered. Detached as a result of this IED rocket attack.
Right.
So your family has given a lot to this country.
Right.
I hope that our members of Congress, I hope our incoming Secretary of Defense does incredible things and brave things and brings this story to justice. Any final thoughts that you want to share with our audience that maybe we didn't cover about this story?
Yeah, I would just like to thank a few people, if I may.
Please.
I want to thank Jake Shields, MMA fighter, champion. Great guy. I got to meet him and be interviewed by him. Dan Balzoria, Jimmy Dore, Scott Ritter, and the great Candace Owens, and many, many more for bringing this story out to light. And again, without people like you, their lives will die in vain. The reason I'm here is my shipmates, 34 of them died, and I do not want their lives to be wasted in a lie of a mistaken identity. And we were ordered by our own government to shut up. And please, Congress, please, Mr. President, please, Pete, anybody, give us our day in court. That's all we want.
Well, Pete is a brave man. We hope that this will be like the ultimate level of bravery to take this story on and to bring this to justice. That would be amazing. And I hope that President Trump is paying attention to this and the people that are around him will pay attention to this and bring this story to light. Phil Turney, we appreciate your story. The book is called What I Saw That Day. And I encourage people to read the story page for page and also visit the USS Liberty Veterans.org .org?
Yeah, usslibertyveterans.org. You can donate there, as I said before, and we'd appreciate it because we need the money to keep on doing things like we're doing right now, and to have reunions and so on and so forth. But you can buy hats and shirts and coins and just a myriad of things, remembering our ship and our shipmates. 34 of those brave souls died that day, and as long as I'm alive, I'm going to keep on talking about it because their lives will not go down in vain by a foreign government and a crooked government that set us up to be murdered. And that's just the way it is. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And people don't like the truth. That's too bad.
Phil, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
So that was the end of this podcast. Was redacted, talking with a USS Liberty survivor, a veteran. I'm going to just I haven't been on social media since, and I wasn't supposed to come back on social media until April 2nd. I guess I'm just taking a break tonight. Not feeling real good. So I'm going to run through X. I haven't been through this in a while. So since there's some folks watching, we'll just go through and see what people are saying.
Join us in demanding accountability for this betrayal. Free Palestine, free America. Let's go.
What's this?
Out. No one wants to fight for Israel.
His
Oh,
hand,
wow.
his hand. Oh, his hand.
Dang. What's this? Sam did?
My social circle is full of sports playing, working out, gung-ho types that seem to just be Trump supporters. So if you're such a Trump supporter, enlist your children in the war, in the military right now. Put them in harm's way for the country that you are so, and for the administration you're so down with.
That's an idea, isn't
Do
it?
that. Or you do it yourself. Get your old ass in.
I guess that Marine's going viral. Let's see.
Had a chance to go see the western wall of the temple now. The western wall tunnels. So much of the old.
I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible.
Fuck Israel.
Interesting. Sorry about that. Oh, wow.
Hímale.
We weren't attacked. I don't get it. All right. So that Marine, I guess, got drug out protesting. That happens. This is this is Trump's spiritual advisor.
The enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear
Wow.
a sound of an abundance.
I guess Trump didn't read Timothy. Anyway, I guess it's all about that's AI.
از اینجا میاد اینجا. اومد.
All right. I'm done with all that. Pray for our country. Pray for each other. Pray for the children, the women. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I can't do nothing. What can I do? What can any of us do? Till next time, I guess. All right. I'm taking a break.